What is up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the backyard. If you guys remember, yesterday we installed the TGV and EGR delete kit onto this car. We've got it jacked up now, and that is because we got some more stuff to install. So if you walk with me over here, we've got a couple items, and here we go, and they are all from Grimspeed. So you guys can take a guess. First thing we're doing is we're installing, boom, electronic boost control solenoid. This one I bought used, which is why it's already all assembled and in a little plastic bag. Got little Grimspeed stickers. And then here, ooh, what is that? We got a whole bunch of piping because we are going with Grimspeed's new front mount intercooler. Check that out. We got the all black kit. Keep it nice and subtle. Keep the black and red theme going. They even gave us some more stickers and the license plates. 2 license plates. Might give those away. Stay tuned. And then this is an optional piece, but I highly recommend it for safety. Got a little bumper crash bar that goes along with this kit, if you choose to go that route. So I think we're gonna go ahead and install the electronic boost controller first, just to get it out of the way and forget about it. So yeah. And today we're sipping on that one beer we didn't have yesterday, which is, looks like it's a collab with Coronado Brewing and Maui Brewing Co. It's a Tropical Tide IPA. So cheers. Not too shabby. Also, shout out to Mark and the Mod Garage for supplying all these parts. Hit them up anytime you need anything. Great customer service, great prices. Can't go wrong. Basically, we need access to our stock boost controller, which is going to be down here. So we're gonna have to take off all the splash guards. I've already shown you guys how to do this, so just bear with me as we get it off. All right, we got the splash guard and the skid plate out. Now we gotta go under there and locate our turbo inlet, which I think is on the passenger side, if I'm not mistaken, because it's right next to the intake. Right, we want to remove these vacuum hoses that goes from the turbo to the controller to the internal wastegate. We've got our stock vacuum lines. This braided one here went to the internal wastegate. This one went to the turbo, and this one without a clip went to our stock solenoid. And you can set this aside, make sure to keep it in case you ever go back to stock, but you won't need it for this install anymore. So I went ahead and did the next step, but basically there's these 2 hoses here. So this one was connected right here, and then this connector was connected right there like that. So you just basically just pop that off, they come right off, nothing crazy. So what you're gonna do next is undo this clamp here so you can remove this, and I believe after that we can untighten here the bypass valve to remove from the charge pipe. All right, so we loosen this clamp up here. We're gonna have to disconnect this right here, but I don't have any reach, so because this is a connector that goes to the stock solenoid. But before we do that, we're just gonna remove these. There's 2 bolts, one right here, one on the other side. Take that out and pull this apart. Okay. I took the turbo inlet out. I left the bypass attached to the charge pipe because there was some tubing going up here and I didn't want to disconnect it. But we left this loosely because for the front mount intercooler, we're gonna have to remove the charge pipe anyways. So I'll probably just leave that hanging until I remove this. All right, so we got our turbo inlet here with our stock controller. Basically, we're gonna remove these screws and we're gonna replace it like this. This portion, this port is gonna go in here, and one of these tubing is gonna go to our turbo inlet, or to our turbo, and the other inlet's gonna go to our internal wastegate. When you're done, it should look like this. 2 tapping screws, port inside the turbo inlet, and then we can go back and put it in. This will go to that connector that we took out, and these will go to turbo and wastegate. Save your stock parts. Alright, so this isn't something you need to do necessarily when you're doing the electronic boost controller, but since I'm gonna do the front mount intercooler, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these bolts and remove the charge pipe and just get it over with at this point. Got our charge pipe out. It's a little tricky getting the bypass valve out from here. You're gonna have to really force it out, but don't worry, nothing's gonna break or nothing. And then I think we need to hold on to these screws. I might be wrong, but just in case. And then, like everything else, set it aside. And we also removed our snorkel just to make it easier to take it out. We're gonna go ahead and put this in. Basically just work backwards. This connector here basically goes to that connection that we disconnected. Bypass valve, hoses, and this one goes to the turbo, the one in the middle. It's labeled 3. And number 2 goes to your external wastegate, or internal wastegate, sorry. Unless you have external, I don't know how that works, but let's do this. I left this off for now. Left this loose because we're gonna have to move it around in a little bit once we do the front mount, because there's some piping we gotta get through there. But here's the control solenoid. The middle one, port 3, goes to your turbo, your boost source. Port 2 on the right goes back here. If you follow it to your internal wastegate that goes into the turbo. I'm not gonna put them on right now, but there's no hose clamp, so I'm just gonna zip tie right here. But I'm gonna do that towards the end, just in case I need to remove these later. And when we do put this, we want to make sure it's nice and sealed, so we don't get any boost leaks. So now we're gonna move on to the front mount. I went ahead and removed the underglow just so when we take out the bumper we have space. So if you guys have this tow hook license plate, make sure you remove the license plate, because when you pull out the bumper, you don't want your bumper to scratch and hit that. That's the only way you're going to be able to fully remove it. But to remove the bumper, basically you go to this trim here, just a few bolts and pop clips. You just want to go ahead and take all of those out, and then you can unhinge your bumper. Alright, we got the bumper off, but you see those clips? We want to unclip them on each side because of fog lights. This clip, this right here, it's a clip to the fog lights. Alright, we got the front bumper off. It's nice and naked. Underglow is hanging. These are what I was saying, so you can basically just disconnect the turn signal, disconnect the fog light, and this is just clipped onto the fog light bezel. And you gotta do that on each side. That's what it looks like. So that is hooked on, that piece I said that's hooked onto the bezels right here. You just take off the turn signal and remove this. Next step is we gotta remove that crash bar. Couple bolts. Bolt right there. Bolt right there. But it's getting around lunchtime and your boy's hungry, so some camarones a la diabla, homemade. And of course, can't forget our fucking beer. I like Ash White. Cheers, y'all. Cheers. My neighbors hate me because my car is loud. True ricer. I dropped rice all over my engine bay. Uh-oh. Go ahead and clean that before we finish. So according to Grimspeed, this bracket that holds your horn stuff, it's supposed to be able to just flip it and screw it in, but you can see there it kind of gets in the way with this. So what I did is I just completely took it off and just zip tied this all together right here. I might just put another zip tie here just to keep it out of the way, and I think that should be fine. Alright, so we got all zip tied, good to go. Next what we gotta do is we gotta remove this washer reservoir, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, we got this out. The hard one was the bolt that was in there because I had to use that long ass extension, but now there's 2 bolts in there. You can see them, 2 14s. Remove those 2 and remove these 2. Got the inside too. Helps to have an impact. Kind of just reach in there, and then you're gonna basically remove this brace right here. So we're removing this bracket from here. The one thing that Grimspeed doesn't explain is that this harness for your fog light and turn signal is attached to it. So you kind of got to pry it out. It's pretty difficult because you can't get on the inside to squeeze these push clips in. But just pry it out and be fine, and then probably just gonna zip tie it right there to keep it out of the way. But once that's done, you remove this, put this aside, put all the bolts together, and we're gonna put this back. We got this back in. You can go ahead and remove this. There's some 2 clips, and when we remove that, we got to trim this guy here on this side and on that side so that the intercooler can fit. Got everything prepped up, so you can see there. Got all the foam out, the bumper bar out, the crash beam out, or whatever that beam was. We got this side cut up, that side cut up. So now it's time to start prepping our front mount, the intercooler portion. Basically, there's some hardware supplied. Got a couple brackets. This goes on the top, left and right, and then our hardware. So you can see here, top, and then on the right, and same thing on the left. So the top one we're going to put on loosely. The other ones we're going to secure because otherwise we won't be able to get it through the back. Ooh, just take a look at this freaking intercooler. Y'all ever seen a black one with some white lettering? I think this looks clean. I ain't never seen anybody install this intercooler yet, so we'll see how it goes. We got our tune date set for a couple weeks from now, so let's get to it. Alright guys, so remember that charge pipe we took off? This guy, grab those bolts. Where that was, we're gonna place this flange right here. Make sure you have the O-ring. That's gonna go into the turbo like that, with the bolts in like that. And then this pipe here, make sure you get the clamps on there loosely. It's gonna go on top of that. And this is gonna go into your bypass valve. So I already went ahead and removed the bolts. We had them on loosely from the turbo inlet, and we're gonna go ahead and put this in. Alright guys, so we've got the turbo inlet and the intake all mounted back on. All that is good, electronic boost controller, all the vacuum lines. So now it's time to connect our piping. So we're gonna use one of these angled ones. It has a big side and a small side. This big side is gonna go to the passenger side on the front mount. And we're gonna connect this U-shaped or kind of J-shaped pipe, this pipe. So this end, the smaller end, is gonna go into the coupler on the front mount intercooler, and this is gonna go into that coupler that we put into the turbo. So make sure that side has one of these small clamps as well. It's gonna take some finessing, but we got this end, we gotta push it in a little bit more. Might have to loosen this clamp a little bit just so we can push it in. But this end here, I removed this all the way. If you can see, we're gonna have to finagle it so it goes in there. into that coupling we just installed. So go ahead and do that and then show you. So we got it on loosely. I first tried putting this piece first and then going in there, but it was really tricky. So I found it easier to, and of course this works better if you have two people, but I found it easier to put it into this bottom coupler first and then finagle it. So now I just gotta push them in all the way and make sure they're nice and tight in there, and then secure those clamps. Just take your time on all this. It's easy, just time consuming, but we've got everything in. See, it's all in there. Look through the top, you can see it's right here connected. You can see right here we cut out a little bit just so that the piping, the turbo piping, can fit through here. Just simple cut, about 2.5 to 3 inches, and then you just cut it right along here where it's mounted. Before we continue with anything else, we're gonna go ahead and mount this guy. This is the bumper bar, and I realized it has a threaded part for our license relocation kit, so we're fine there. No need to figure anything out. And to mount this, it's basically gonna go here, here, and here, and same on the other side, here, here, and down there. And you'll basically use the same bolts that came off of your original crash bar. Gang, we're done with the bumper bar. Now we start putting the piping from this side. So it's gonna go from here, route under, and then it's gonna go into here, I believe. Right now we've got these two pieces. The one that says Grimspeed and has this bracket. That bracket's gonna basically go right here on your intake manifold where those two bolts are. And then this guy, another angled one. So you got the, put it down. You got the large side and the small side. Large side goes to throttle body, small side is gonna go to that pipe, and I'll show you that shortly. All right, so we've got the coupler into the throttle body here. Just gotta tighten this, a hose clamp, but before we do that, we wanna finagle this guy so that those holes line up right there. Just a matter of moving it around, and should be good once we do that. So let me go ahead and do that and show you the result. We're almost there, guys. Almost there. So we got that in. You're gonna want to put this straight coupler here with two small clamps onto this pipe, and then you're gonna grab this S-shaped pipe, the smaller end, this end. It's kind of hard to tell which one's smaller and longer, but it's apparent once you pay attention. So that's the longer end, shorter end. This shorter end is going to go in here, while this is going to be fed down through here, and attached with a 90-degree coupler in order to attach to the intercooler. So I went ahead and removed the washer fluid hosing just to make it easier. And keep in mind, the kit comes with this little rubber piece that you install right here in front of your battery, just to keep anything from getting damaged. So let's get to it. All right, fitment's a little tricky getting this part in there, but it's in. See, it's not damaging anything, looks like. We got two more things left. We've got this coupler and this 90-degree pipe. So this coupler goes here. Remember to take this cap off, and this goes attached like that. So let's go ahead and do that, then we'll tighten up all our clamps. All right, y'all, it's about 9:30 at night. We just finished up installing everything. Sorry the lighting's trash. These fucking motion lights suck dick. But everything's installed. We gotta put the bumper back on.
One eternity later.
Y'all pour your cereal first or your milk first? What's up, everyone? It is day 2. Don't mind the hair, I just got out the shower. Making myself a little bit of breakfast. But we are continuing because last night, let me show you, we couldn't get the bumper on. We had a couple of issues. Well, just one issue really. Take a look here. This side seems to be lining up. I got it on with some clips, but this side here, it's just not, see, it's not lining up properly. And that's because not sure if you can see, but this piece here, this piping that we just installed, is hitting the bezel here. So we might have to cut this or move this around a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick after I have breakfast and see if we can fix this, because I want my bumper back on. So here's the issue we're falling into. This piece here, I believe, is smacking into here. So I gotta figure out a way to twist it so it's not causing a problem. Otherwise I'm gonna have to cut into the bezel a little bit, which I don't really want to do, but we'll see. So it's actually this piece that's hitting, not that one. That one's fine. So this, we gotta twist it a little bit. We did it. We got the bumper on at last. So the problem was the clearance here, so we fixed that. We already turned the car on, it's good to go. We do have a check engine light, but that's because of the TGV and EGR deletes. Once we put on, I haven't put on the base tune yet that the tuner sent me, but once we put that on, that should go away. But I'm gonna wait to upload the tune until we get the E85 kit on there. So now I just gotta put the clips, put the splash guard and skid plate back on under. But that about wraps it up, guys. With that being said, stay tuned to the next install. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed. Peace.
Where was your love when I was on my own? I've been taking them drugs to help me sleep at home. Said I'm losing my guys, most of them are gone. But I'm steady alive, living life and go. Yeah, but I just hop on my back, cause go get it. I stay to myself, you know.